Okay, we are here with my guest today, Mr. Cole Adams of Cam Comfort and the Outside Kids. You can find links to both bands in the description of the podcast. Thanks for being with me today.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So, I guess my first question is, how did you end up joining Cam Comfort and the Outside Kids? Like, how did that all start?
I think it must have been about 2018, probably. I have a bad memory for dates, but with Camp Comfort, they were
Right.
kind of like going through bassists a little bit, and it was a situation where Nevada had approached me and kind of like floated the idea of like, hey, do you want to join the band? We've got a opportunity to tour and play a lot, and that sounded good to me at the time. So that's kind of how it was. If you know anything about Nevada, he was a little bit hard to chase down at first, but we kind of like got things together, and I think it was about 2018 when I joined Camp Comfort.
Cool.
Yeah,
Well,
I think.
yeah, and it was crazy to me when the band came out because you didn't really like before them. It seemed like I mean there might have been one other band, but you didn't really hear too much reggae coming out of the Black Hills. And now it's hard to imagine the music scene without you guys. So
Yeah, I mean I also play with High Rise, and I think were the I think it was them in Camp. I think it was that was
yeah,
it
yeah.
at the time. But I mean, you got to give it up to obviously Dan Sherrill for sure, because he's the kind of the dude that started it all and was like super influential in the scene. So that was, I think he was the one that kind of like inspired
Yeah, that's
everyone
I
else to
mean,
kind of like
Dan is
do
definitely missed, man.
live music
RIP to
really,
him,
and
and
like reggae
he was definitely
specifically
an
for
integral
sure.
part of that, as you say. And um so of the work that you guys have put out so
Yeah.
far, what do you think is your favorite, like I know it's hard to pick a favorite, especially work that you're a part of, but like your favorite Camp Comfort song or your favorite piece of material?
Um, that's that's an interesting question. It is hard to pick a favorite. Of the stuff that we have off the new album that I've been involved with in recording, I'd say probably,
Both
you
great
know,
songs.
man,
Yeah.
Mexico or Warrior, I think, are the two that I'm most excited about. I think, uh, yeah, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, and Warrior just has a really good message, and I'm very pleased with how that turned out, like
That's
songwriting
awesome.
wise
That's
and
awesome.
how it sounds.
One thing I kind of
And
wanted to know
Mexico,
from
the
you
bass
know,
part that I
and
did for
not everyone
Mexico is
obviously is
probably
from the
my
local area
at
here,
least my
but
most complicated work. I don't
um
know if it's my
for
best
those
work,
that
but
don't know, I'll just
those
do it
are
real
kind of
quick.
the two tracks
We
that
did
really stick
have
out to me. So,
for many years a festival here called Summer Nights
mhm.
um that was kind of rolled back by the city council. And it's important to me, and you won't be the only one that I'm asking this, but it's important to me to know like what the importance of summer nights was from a musician's perspective, and kind of how you like what you think should happen, or that or could happen if we were to resurrect something like that, and the importance of music in the Black Hills in general.
Yeah, yeah, summer nights in Rapid City specifically, uh, and summer nights like around the area, because there's other communities that do it. They do the live music in Belfouche, they do it in Spearfish, they do it. Communities that have it. I think it's a great thing for the community because there are so few places that you can exist for free in society, really, and just enjoy live music. Because yeah, you can go to a bar and check out a
More
band,
kind of an all
and
ages.
maybe you don't necessarily have to
Yeah.
pay for a drink or food or whatever to watch the band, but there is kind of an expectation that if you go out and see something, you have to pay for it. And I think free events for the community connected to live music are really important. And also, yeah, yep. All age is definitely important because, yeah, if you're under 21 and you want to go see live music, your options are kind of limited. So I think that's really important. And as far as resurrecting it, um, I'd love to see it come back, especially just because I think it was a great way for the community to come together.
Right.
I don't know what the mechanics of that would be,
Right. Well,
because
I
I know it
appreciate you giving your
upset
2 cents on that. I
some of the
think,
businesses on Main Street in Rapid
you
City,
know,
especially, that were
I've
kind of
always
not
said that,
pleased with
like,
how it turned out for them for
for any
whatever reason.
community, connection
So I think
equals
it's going to
progression in
take
any kind of way, and especially in Rapid City,
some collaboration
like,
work and
we're
convincing for them to
very
come
heavy
back,
on
maybe.
on the
But
bars and
you know,
churches, but
I don't think that's
not always as heavy
impossible.
as we could be on the general community. And as you said, I think that's kind of what the music is, the pulse of that, as you will. So I definitely agree with what you had said. So the kind of the start of this podcast, or what had me start this podcast, was I had a lot of, concert stories with local musicians, national musicians, different ones. And so I wanted to know, like, of the performances that you've done or that you've seen or that you've been a part of, just experiences that you've had, what's your favorite, like, concert story that you can think of?
Do you want? I have a couple that I can think of. I guess my favorite performance, like the best performances I've ever experienced with Camp Comfort, specifically, was the Gold Discovery Days that we do at the Custer Beacon pretty much every year. That
Right.
weekend, that show it's the most I've ever felt like a rock star in my life, because everybody's into it, everybody's having a good time, they're all partying. The Beacon is a great venue, and those are some of the most fun things I've had. Also, as far as fun gigs go, we played
The crazy stories are
I
what we
think it was
want,
the
man.
stock
What
show,
you got?
and Nelly was headlining the big arena at the fairgrounds, and then we did the after party for that, and
Well,
then like just
the thing
everybody
is,
that
if
was
you
there just
want, we
like
could
filtered
we
over,
omit
and there was a
name.
ton of
Yeah,
people there. That was a
yeah, we omit
blast
names
of a
here.
gig,
So,
and
and this is
just
all
a party.
anything that
Everybody's
Joel is
into it.
about to.
Tons of
Sorry, go
people.
ahead.
Yeah, made me feel like a rock star. I like those
I
gigs.
was gonna say,
There's there's a
well,
few gigs that
yeah,
come to mind that were a little
I was gonna say
crazy.
anything that Joel is about to
For
say, I will
sure.
say is
I think one
allegedly.
of the
We'll just put
weirdest.
that tag on it, allegedly.
Yeah.
So,
Well, there's two that come to mind. I might step on somebody
okay.
else's account here if you end up interviewing any of my bandmates, but no names. I'm not going to. No, I'm not going to incriminate anybody. I'm not going to say anything. Yeah, yeah. No,
Right.
nothing. I don't think. No, nothing illegal happens in the stories as I'm about to tell you. But so the very weirdest gig I've ever played in my life was with Camp Comfort, and a certain motorcycle club had hit him up for live music because they were having their national convention in Rapid City. And if but people who are listening might not know, there's some friction that's happened in the past with the motorcycle clubs that exist in this area because of the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, of course, as we all know. And so we got contacted by one of them, and they were having their national convention, like I said, and they wanted us for 2 nighs. So we set up on, I think it was a Friday, Saturday, doesn't really matter, but drove into this kind of secluded compound that they had that's somewhere in Rapid City. I couldn't even tell you where it is if I wanted to. But,
Right.
So we pull up, super tight security, and they're directing us and like, you can't park here. You have to go over park here. So unload here real quick, and then we'll park you over here. And they had us all do the wristband thing. We had to sign in at the gate. It was like heightened security right away, and it was just weird from the get-go. We set up and we play, and it started kind of quiet, and then we played it through our whole set, took our breaks and everything, and nobody was dancing. Nobody was even listening. There were some like tents that were set up around, and it was just a weird experience. And we had been instructed that we were not to wander away from the stage. Like if we were wandering away from the stage, we had to be with a motorcycle club member. And so I was like, oh, this is a little weird. And so after the first night, I was like, that was weird. That was intense. And so I was like, all right, they're just motorcycle club members. It's fine. They're just people like everybody else. And I made the mistake of Googling the club name. And first like 10 results that popped up on Google were like racketeering, murder charges, all this stuff. I'm like, oh no, this isn't good. So we played the second night, and again, we show up. Nobody's dancing. Nobody's paying attention. Completely quiet. There's like 2 or 3 people that are just kind of milling around. And
yeah, that
nobody's paying attention to what we're doing. And we estimated that there were going to be anywhere from between like 2,000 and 3,000 people that were in that compound. Couldn't see from the road. Nobody was paying attention the whole time. And when we were loading out, all of a sudden, all these prospects just appeared. Didn't say anything to any of us.
I mean,
loaded
honestly,
all
man,
of our
it sounds
gear out.
pretty rock
We got
and roll
paid
to
cash,
me, honestly.
and the guy was just like,
that's a
"Yeah,
great
we'll call
story.
you
I
again
appreciate
next
that.
time we need you." And we're all like, I don't think we're gonna do this. So my theory was that they were having their like club meetings, and they had some federal agencies listening in, and I think we were sound cover for their meetings that they were having. Yeah, because we saw like the helicopter flying over at one point, and yeah, I think that's the only time for a gig where I've actually been like kind of concerned for my well-being when I was playing. It turned out fine, and we got paid well, so whatever. Yeah, and the other, yeah, we're all probably on an FBI list because of that gig. Honestly, we're known associates of one of the motorcycle clubs. So, and then there was if there was another one, which if you interview Kevin or Johnny, this is a story that I might ruin for them, but just because I'm saying it first, there was a gig we played in Dickinson. I think it was Dickinson, right. And it was right around 2020 when everything was weird during that year, and it was the whole thing of like, should we, shouldn't we, our street dance is happening, what are we doing, we're outside, it's kind of safe, it's not safe, whatever, weird environment, whatever. But we decided to do the street dance with Flannel, as you're good homies with those guys too. And we had opened up for them, and I was a little weird, just feeling weird about it, because I'm like, I don't know if we should do this. It's, COVID's still rampant. Yeah. And we showed up, and it was immediately, I was like, oh, we are having absolutely no effect on this crowd whatsoever. They're here to party, whether we're here or not. I guess, whatever, it's a morally dubious choice, of course. But gig went well. Everything was fine. And after the gig, there was this sketchy dude that was wandering around with his leg in like a full cast. So he was like kind of doing like the like straight leg walk, and he was beyond hammered, just crazy drunk. And I had seen him earlier in the night at the bar with like 20 shots of, I think it was Jaeger, lined up in front of him, and he was arguing with the bartender. Yeah, he had like bought the bar, the whole bar shots, and the bartender was trying to get him to pay, and he was like, he had his wallet out, and he was just like offering cards to the bartender, but they were not his credit card. So he's like, oh, here's my ID. And the guy's like, no, I need your credit card, buddy. Like, I need your card. So he's like, oh, hotel room key, does that work? How about this one? So he went through like 10 cards. I didn't see him actually pay for the drinks. I don't know if it ever happened. So later in the night, Kevin and Johnny are hanging out with this guy, and they're like, hey, this dude said that he's got a friend that wants us to go over to his house and play a private show for him, and he's going to pay us $2,000. And I was like, it was the guy with the cast leg that I'd seen earlier, and I was immediately suspicious, and I was like, there's no way this is real. This can't be real. This is stupid. But everything got worked out, and Kevin and Johnny were doing the things and making the business deals. And so we hop in this dude's Jeep. Zach is driving, and the cast leg dude is in the passenger seat shouting instructions at him, like inflicting instructions. So we were driving around for a good like 30 to 40 minutes. And finally I was sitting in the back seat of the Jeep and I go, does anybody know where we're going? And there's a little voice in the back that goes, I know, we're going to my house. I'm like, okay, well, can you tell Zach where we're going, please? So we finally get to the house, pull up to the house, and this did nothing to assuage my suspicions, because we get there and dude hops out of the Jeep, pushes a button, and this like cover opens to like this pool and this lighted grotto, and just insanely like just
That's
pimped out house.
yeah, that's
And so we
insane.
go in. Dude has a movie theater in his basement. He has a full bar, I was under the I was completely suspicious that we were at the wrong house and we were like breaking into somebody's house the whole time. It was his house, but that was just my mindset at the time, because the cast leg guy had aroused my suspicions. So we ended up like partying with this dude and drinking a bunch of his expensive liquor. Oh, I forgot to mention, he had a ball pit on the basement floor, and then you could go from the second floor and like kind of slide down this slide and land in the ball pit. It was just a ridiculous house. 2 hot tubs in his office. His office was behind this like
Right.
false door that had a bunch of autographed baseballs in it. And in his office, he had this like 6 to 7 foot tall giraffe mount. So
Yeah.
he had like apparently gone on safari and shot a giraffe. I don't know. There's a wild boar in there too. It was wild. And so, he had at one point tried to give Johnny his autographed Mickey Mantle baseball, which Johnny was like, no, I can't take that, man. I'm like, I can't take that from you. So what ended up happening is Johnny and Kevin played like 3 songs. Johnny used his salesmanship to make the guy pay us some money for being there. So Johnny made him cut him a check that night. Well, at that point, my suspicion had gotten the better of me and I wanted to leave. So I decided I was going to start walking because I was bored. As will happen occasionally when I'm at parties, I'll do the Irish goodbye and just start walking. And I'd put into my phone in Google, I was like, the directions to our hotel, because I knew where we were staying. I just didn't know how far it was. So I put it in the directions, and it said 9 minutes. And I'm like, oh, sick. I can walk that. That's cool. I can do that. Well, as everyone will probably catch on, it was a 9-minute drive time. So I was just walking and walking by the side of the road, just being like, where is this place? What's going on? My Google's not updating. What's happening?
Yeah, those are some great stories. And I like, that's amazing. As long as I've known you guys, I was like,
I'm just walking down the road. I'll see you guys when you drive by, probably.
I appreciate sharing that. And I'm sure the listeners will as well.
And then shows up,
so let's switch to
deputy shows up,
the outside kids. Like,
so
I know that
where are you going?
I'm like, the two bands kind of
where are you coming from?
They're merged in some ways, but how did that end up? Because I've never even
partly because I didn't know where it was.
How did that end up becoming a thing?
So
where
he's like,
it's almost like its own.
So, do you want to ride? I was like, yeah, I'll take a ride. And he's like, well, so you're not under arrest or anything, but because of COVID, you can't sit up front. You got to sit in the back. So I got a ride from the cop back to the hotel, and I ended up arriving before anybody else did it. I was like, where you guys been? So my whole suspicion of the night was I spent the whole night suspicious and like not sure that we were actually at somebody's house, and then I got a ride home from the cops. It was great. Yeah. So those are probably those two craziest experiences. There's been a lot, but those are the top ones.
Right. Yeah, that's awesome that people ask you to join stuff like that in general. That's pretty cool. And I can say that you know, of the guys in Camp Comfort, like all the guys in Camp Comfort, yourself included, have been kind enough to toss my, like, I'm always at the front row of shows, and every now and then the mic will show up in my hand, and they're kind enough to let me borrow a couple of verses, and I like that's probably been I think the craziest
well, so I'm
show
not
that I remember
involved with
with
the outside
Camp
kids anymore,
was
which is just fine.
I think it was
But
March,
how it
like
ended up
it was actually
coming
March
up is
13th
that
or March
Matt is
17th
our
or no,
kind
and
of
it wasn't St.
producer,
Patrick's Day, but it was
sound
close to
engineer
there. Like
fella, and
it was
he's
the week before everything
the
shut down
founding
because of
member of the
COVID.
Outside Kids. It's his project,
And there's
and
a club
he
here in
was
Rapid City called
kind of
the
starting it up again
445,
after
and
not having it running for
Cam
a
Comfort was
while.
doing a
And
show there, and I
Pat
think
Fahey had been their bass
that
player,
was
and Pat was not interested
probably
in playing bass anymore.
the
So they approached me
craziest
to play
Camp Comfort
bass.
show that I'd
So
ever been to.
I did that for a while. Yeah. That's just kind of how it
Because
started out, where it was like
the evening just seemed
Matt
eerily
needed a bass
perfect.
player. Yeah.
And
filled
I
in,
was
so.
I actually remember wondering, I mean, it was wonderful, but I actually remember wondering why. I mean, there wasn't a reason, but then it was crazy because there were a lot of what I will call Kodak moments at that show. And then like a week or so later, everything shut down because of COVID. And so that show was probably my greatest memory with you guys. And then also just I've gotten up on stage a couple of times, and you know, they have a song from their first album called Morning Wood that I mean the title leaves a lot to the imagination, but it's actually a really good song in general. And I remember I'm doing that one with you guys. That was great. And also they're of the musicians that I've dealt with in general, be it local or national,
Yeah.
they're probably some of the coolest group of guys you guys are that I've ever had the pleasure of sharing a stage with. So I do appreciate that. So the other thing that I was curious about is if you could
Yeah.
if you could put together dead or alive, like your dream lineup of musicians to play with, who do you think that would be?
Right.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh man, that's a good question.
Yeah.
If man, I should have anticipated this. It's something seems like something you'd asked. Dream musicians. I mean, I'm just gonna, so I don't offend anybody, I'm just gonna discount out any of the bands that I play with currently. Or so I think, you know, if I'm gonna play bass with somebody, I would have some, if I was playing another instrument, I have some suggestions for bass. But if I was playing bass with anybody, you know, frontman, probably Robert Plant. I mean, then that would be insane. In his prime, he was one of the best frontmen, I think, of any rock band for sure. He had everything you needed, the showmanship and the look and the voice and everything. As far as like, man, guitar players. Now I got to think about guitar players. I don't know. Steve Vai is a little too weird for my taste. You know what
It's
I mean?
all good.
Steve Vai
I mean,
gets a little
these
strange.
things take time
Great
to think
player.
out, man. I get it. I totally get
But
it.
he's just a kind of a weird guy. I don't know how he'd how he'd react with anything. Oh man, it's Paul Gilbert. That would be a great guitar player. The dude from Racer X back in the 80s who played his guitar with the power drill. He just seems like a really chill guy from the interviews I've seen of him. And he's an amazing player. But yeah, Paul Gilbert, he'd be great for guitar.
Yeah, it sounds like a pretty eclectic mix, man. That's cool. Okay, so
drummers,
favorite.
That's a crazy thing.
This is kind of a cheesy question, but it's also one that I've had to think about a lot myself. Like Desert Island.
I don't necessarily want the
you're
best
stuck on a
drummer,
desert island.
You know?
What music?
I want the drummer that I can connect with, that we play well together. And there's been some really good drummers that I've played with that I'm just like, nah, I don't dig that guy's style or whatever. Or our styles don't mesh. It might be fine, but we just don't, our styles don't mesh. Yeah. So a drummer. Man, that's a tough question. If I'm thinking stylistically,
let's just say, I mean, let's go. You can name as many as you want, but just start you off. Let's just say
just to mix things up and throw a little bit of a wrench in the works. I think Buddy Rich was a bit of a dickhead, so I wouldn't want to play with him. And yeah, I would say if if I had an answer that I had to give, I would
Okay.
say the drummer from Dave Brubeck's band, which I can't remember his name right now, but he's a very understated drummer, but very, very skilled. So it'd be a weird group with you know, the 70s style of Robert Plant, and then, you know, Paul Gilbert with his weird shreddy 80s style, and then a jazz drummer and me. I think we could make some interesting music with that. I think we could do some stuff. What music? This is a tough question, because I like
Okay.
to
Yeah,
listen
yeah.
to I really don't have a favorite band right now. I like to listen to a lot of different stuff. I like variety. You know, I don't like to get stuck too much with one genre or one artist. How many albums am I limited to here? Do I have a unlimited list, or oh man, thinking about
Okay.
if it was this moment that I was choosing one record for sure would be My Morning Jacket live at Bonnaroo from like 2004, I think it was. I just picked up that album,
All right.
that record. I really dig that record, so I'd probably take that one.
Okay, so
I wasn't a big My
and
Morning Jacket fan.
this
before
next
I
one's
listened
all
to that. I just
hypothetical,
picked
like
it up
all
because it was on
hypothetical
sale,
occasions, but
and I
like
really liked it.
number
So
one
I'd do
song
that one,
you'd want,
and then
a song that you'd want, like if there were to be a
probably
wedding,
a
like
Led Zeppelin
what
album.
song would
I
you
would
want to be
do
played at a
probably
wedding, like, and then also what song would you want to be played at your final birthday?
Man, that's a tough
You know,
one to
kind of
pick a Led Zeppelin album too, because
encapsulate your
I could be
life,
basic
and then
and say 4,
like
but I think I could probably
kind
do
of going
Led Zeppelin
along with
3
that, and it
if I
might
was
be the
choosing a Led
same,
Zeppelin
but
album.
at your funeral too.
I like that one. And then Pink Floyd, maybe.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. That's a
probably
great
Dark
song,
Side of the
too.
Moon. That's pretty basic too, but that covers that covers some sonic ground. And so that's 3. Let me think of another one. Trying to think of the records I have like that I've been playing lately.
Okay,
really
yeah.
enjoyed. Okay, so since I mentioned
Right.
Brubeck, there's a live recording called "The Last Time We Saw Paris" by Dave Brubeck, and I believe it was their last, if not one of their last live performances ever with that group, and that's just a great live recording and a great jazz album. And I don't know, I feel like I should have one more something more modern, just because I've been listening to them a lot. Deftones, and the album would be Around the Fur, probably. So I think that gives you a good that gives me a good variety.
Okay, so like that's I think that's all of them actually, because you did the funeral, so I think we're good. But yeah, but no, so those are all really interesting choices. I like that. So other than the bands that you've like been in, you know, past and present, like in the Black Hills music scene, because it's been said by a lot of people that we've actually got a lot of vibrancy going on and a lot of, you know, great music going on. So other
Oh,
than the
boy.
bands that you're in, or you know, Camp Comfort, like what
I
and
can
of
think of
course,
a
like
joke
we all
song.
support each other. We all know that.
The wedding would be "It's the End of the World as We Know It."
What band, like, do you,
I feel
like,
fine.
you like that everyone does. I know you do. But
That's a
like,
joke.
what's
That's
one
a joke
band that
because
you,
I
like,
can't
you
think of
think
anything
of,
else.
and you're like, I really like what they do.
So, if it was funeral, I think one of my favorite pieces of music of
You
all
don't have to-
time is the first
Yeah,
movement of
yeah.
Beethoven's Moonlight Sonata. That's just a beautiful piece of music. The rest of the movements can screw off. I don't care about the rest of the movement, but the first movement is one of the most beautiful pieces of music ever written. So that would be a pick for sure. My last birthday, it's got to be something upbeat, right? If it's my last birthday, God. Let me see. I think I'd pick a Bouncing Souls song, and I think it would be
the Dead Martha is definitely like we'll get their music
there's
out
a song where it goes, "I feel great. How
and,
about you?" That's
you
a
know,
great tune.
there really
I
is a
think that's
lot
a,
of
that's a great one.
music going on in the Black Hills.
So yeah,
and
Bouncing Souls.
Joel was right
Moonlight
to say
Sonata,
that none of it's
and,
like
what
there's
did he say?
nothing
It's
that is
the
bad.
world,
It's
you know
like
it.
it's just a
What
lot
was
of
the other
interesting
category that you
stuff
had?
going
Yeah,
on. It's
I think I covered some of them.
cornucopia, if you will, of music to choose from. So um And what is like,
Great.
what's your earliest memory with music?
Yeah, I don't want to upset anybody. I don't think there's
Right.
anything bad around here, really.
All right.
Everybody
Well,
here is like you said, we all
um,
support each other.
I think
I
that's about all the time we have for today.
as
But
far as like
like I said,
stuff that's
Camp Comfort is
exciting
a
and
wonderful
different,
band.
that's
Joel
like,
is a kick-ass bass player,
I really dig
and
what the
a
Dead
fellow
Marthas are
Futurama
doing.
fan
I
of
think they're
mine.
cool. I like
I'll
seeing them
just
live.
throw
They
that
put
in
on a
there,
very
and
live
I'm
show.
like, yeah. And
So that would kind of be
I
my
really
answer. Also,
appreciate your time, man. And
American Heavy Metal Weekend.
we'll
those guys.
hopefully we'll have you on again. And
I know they
really
don't play too
appreciate
much
your
anymore,
stories,
but
and
I saw
we'll
them
talk to you
play
soon,
one time,
okay?
and I really dug their show. That was really cool.
All right. Thank you,
so
man.
it'd be, but Dead
Thank you.
Marthas is my
Bye.
favorite. Oh, earliest memories. It was, well, my mom was a very musical person, and she got me started on piano when I was about, I think I started when I was 6, and I was taking piano lessons. And ironically, well, I didn't like to practice because I was 6, and I remember some of my earliest memories of the music was being it like just sobbing at the piano because I didn't feel like practicing. Ironically, that started a lifelong passion for music was not wanting to practice the piano, I think. And I have this weird relationship with the piano where if I have to do it, I don't like to do it, and if I don't have to do it, I'm fine with it. It's a weird thing, but yeah. Yeah. Sounds great, man. Thanks for having me. Yep. See you soon.